Creative campaigns most of the times are dedicated to selling a product or a service with using campaigns in general. In today's inspiration, we're going to go over how to create a creative campaign with only using social media and a few elements that could be applied to any small business. Now keep in mind, the example we are using was done by a company that has at least resources to pull off a campaign like this, and it has a knowledge and different people to create something of high relevance. But let's try analyzing some key elements that we can include or we can try getting inspiration from, and then apply them into our very own campaigns. Now, just remind you, a creative campaign is dedicated to selling your products or service, which in the long run pushes you ahead of the market by standing out from the audience as well. Now, we are looking at a campaign from Redial Uganda, a telecom company. This campaign had one goal in mind, which is dedicated towards connecting more people within Uganda, within the Ugandan country. And from a glimpse, the biggest thing that the main key areas that I used, we are seeing the hashtag, which is highly talked about on this channel and on the various communications that we push out. We are seeing the hashtag, which is hashtag UG needs more of you, which is well written with a capital U and G, which describes that the country is highly respected. So that's one key. If you're doing it in a global community, you could try at least to make the initials very big because it will highlight. Okay, and to also try and emphasizing to make the other letters, the first letters, in an uppercase format, because it will make your hashtag stand out. That's rule number one. Number two, always need key personalities that are going to influence the message that you're trying to push out. Now, for this campaign, in general, we can see various people talking about the campaign, various faces, media outlets, all talking about this whole campaign. Now, truth, this whole campaign, most of the faces, majority, are influencers in their fields that were paid to do most of the material that we're seeing because they have reputable audiences that they influence. But you might not have access to such audiences, but you can use the portion of the audience that you have to push out these messages. In the longest run, because this is a long-term oriented goal, you're not going to make money in the shortest term. You might in fact lose, might not get what you initially invested in. You're trying to test the waters to see whether your message could come across as something relevant. So we are seeing various faces, okay, and these are really reputable people, reputable faces. So that's one thing you can focus on. You need various faces, not one, not two, but if you're very tiny and you have little margins, you can do it with yourself and your team. But if you can find access to reputable faces that align with your messages, you definitely need to think of that. Number two, we are looking at the different medium used. So we're looking at the different images, the different videos, all to which speak the same language. If you look closely to try and see, you realize that all of these mediums, all these images speak to the event, communicate the message that was being shared. And still they are coming from the influencer, they are coming from the reputable faces or figures that were given the job or role to push the messages. And the other thing is about the messaging style, quick to that. So we can see, if we try zooming in a little closely, the whole message, how it is being crafted. So it goes, if you know of someone who has a tech-inspired story in their community, share it, okay? Share it for them to get the recognition they deserve at Redial Uganda. Now, two key areas here. Your message or your main creative campaign needs to speak a certain theme. As we can see, it's dedicated or it's highlighted to people who have created an impact within the tech space within Uganda. So that's one key area, and that binds you to even the people or the influencers you're trying to pick for your very own campaign. The other thing is more like the call to action. So we are seeing the Twitter handle for LTL Uganda, which is straight to the point. Definitely, if you need the recognition, you just tap to the link and it will take you to the Twitter profile where you learn more about it. The other thing is, if you're currently running various programs or different campaigns, keep in mind that on your very own Twitter profile or on your very own social platform, Instagram, LinkedIn, or Facebook, you need to make it clear where your audience goes from. So that calls for having a well-established profile, which goes to the video that we did yesterday, highlighting all these key areas. Or you can tell or can send them to a direction or a direct source to where they can access more. So in this case, we are seeing a website still from the direct to the Airtel website that they can learn more to what's really happening. So that's another thing to look into while trying formulating this. Above all, the audience that you will have immersed, the people that will have believed in you will be really, really much, and they will respect you for everything that you do. So basically, those are some of the key areas that you can consider while setting up a creative campaign that is dedicated to either sell your products or services. But in most times, once more, this is dedicated to making you an authority in your field. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. Stay safe.